Chris Carter, the Minnesota Vikings, back here in Minneapolis, and with this touchdown catch, you know, hands are one thing, but watch the body control at the boundary. Not only do the hands catch the ball, but he's able to compose his body and get those feet down. I mean, no offense to you in the profession, but do you really coach that to a guy that can do that?
No, you draft that. That's what you draft.
Now here's the kickoff down to Jaquette, running it back for the Colts in this tie game. Nate Jaquette takes a lick at the 15-yard line, a return of just 16. Marvin Harrison, but Harbaugh was way long.
Well, this qualifies throw-wise as an oops, and usually when you get an oops, you have a reason. And number 93, John Randall, is a good reason, because unless you get full bodies in front of this maniac, you are not going to stop him.
Yeah, and they tried to get him with two guys right there. Doug Waddell, the left guard, came over and tried to help, and neither one of them could get him. But, you know, you mentioned earlier about going deep when you have good field position. They went deep here from their own 15-yard line on that play, Randy.
That shows a lot of confidence out of Lindy Infante, what his quarterback's been doing.
What's he going to do? Looks like he's going to go deep again if he can. Harbaugh now fires hard and over the hands of his wide receiver, Sean Dawkins. Again, a big rush by the Vikings, as we now see the Redskins extending to a 14-7 lead over Philadelphia. As mentioned earlier, a Washington loss, no matter what the Vikings do today, would put the Vikings in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't mean to bring up a bad memory, though, Jim, but, you know, they win this game here in Minnesota. This team starts to remind me of that 87 Viking team that went down to the Superdome and beat you guys and then came out to the San Francisco and smacked us around pretty good and got to the championship game.
Yeah, you are bringing up a bad memory. Why'd you have to do that?
Whatever's fair, right? Here's a 3rd down and 10 play as Harbaugh is taken down by John Randall. They can't block him. I don't know if anybody can.
Well, the key really now is that you're not getting that help from the tight end Dilger. You're not getting the ding from a running back. You're leaving this rookie all by himself against Randall, and when you get that much air around Randall, he has places to go. And you're number 4, you got trouble.
Well, Randall, you know, tries to beat him outside initially, and Meadows just reacts to the outside real quick and just opened up that inside. And Randall, the experience that he has, he just came right back inside, threw him outside, came back inside, and got to the quarterback.
Air bothers offensive linemen.
Yes, sir.
And that was his, now has 14.5 sacks for the season, does John Randall. Here comes the dangerous David Palmer, working his way to the 47 or 8-yard line, a 48-yard punt and a 4-yard return.
So you think being a pro football player is easy and glamorous, huh? Emmanuel McDaniel here working against Griffiths, 24, and Wheeler, 37. Look at this. They knock him down. They roll him over. Now sit. Now roll over again. Sit. Roll over. Treating you like a dog.
You know, what you tell those two guys out there on that forcer on the punt is that, hey, there's 2 of you guys, there's 1 of him, there's no way he should get free, and he doesn't.
Now when 2 guys knock him down and sit on him. 1st down and 10, Vikings, game tied 7-7. Randall Cunningham averaging 9.8 yards a rush. Gets almost that on that carry. He's down to the 46-yard line, a gain of about almost 8 yards on the play.
You know, on an earlier drive, Cunningham had opportunities to run, but threw the ball for a big gain. Here it looked to me like he should have taken off right away. I mean, there was nobody in his face. He could have run for a 1st down, but he actually hesitated a little bit to see if there was somebody open. And there might have been somebody open. Carter there looks like he might have been open, but I think Cunningham should have taken it and gone then.
That's downfield on the backside. You've got to be looking for that to hit that.
And out goes to fullback Charles Evans. Cunningham made his first start in almost 2 years earlier this month at San Francisco. And really is still getting in sync with his receivers in the Viking passing game. Cunningham had only 14 yards passing in the 2nd half last week in the loss against the Lions.
Hey, you know, Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator, has that, you know, that Walsh-type style offense here where it takes a lot of timing, takes a lot of touch for the quarterback. There's Brian Billick right there, and you really need coordination and time with receivers to operate this offense effectively.
Vikings have done all right in 3rd down. They've converted their previous 2 3rd downs. Randall calls his own number, but you see penalty markers fly. Todd Stussy, it looked like.
False start prior to the snap. Number 73, Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Well, we've got one rookie on the Colts side having a tough time. Stussey's having a hard time with Footman and just sort of listens to the bark of Randall Cunningham, and he gets him.
Yeah, what happened there? Footman started to move in a little bit prior to the snap, but he wasn't in the neutral zone. Stussey's got to be disciplined enough to not let that bother him and hang in there until the ball snapped.
That's one of the better sides of a football line you're going to see in the entire league with Randall McDaniel and Todd Stussey. Very athletic and very strong.
And both headed to the Pro Bowl. On third down, Cunningham stands in, fires a shot, and makes the connection. This is Carter on the run. He's inside the 20-yard line and all the way down to the 15. A gain on the play of 34 yards.
Jim, I talked to Chris Carter before the game, and he said the one thing I'm waiting for Randall Cunningham to do is have the confidence to put a ball in when I look covered, and I've just got a crack on a guy. You want to talk about a nice throw to a guy that's had a little crack.
Yeah, that's the best throw that Cunningham has made so far in the game today. He threw that with some confidence and some authority. There was no doubt in his mind. Boy, he put some zip on that and got it right to Carter. That showed me something there by Cunningham.
After the 53-yard kickoff return by Palmer, the Vikings have been on fire as now they go back to the run, and big Leroy Horde, a much-traveled player, takes it into the 12-yard line, a gain of almost 3 yards on the play. Bernard Whittington made the stop for the Colts.
And don't forget, inside for the Minnesota Vikings, their third center in the game, Everett Lindsey, now playing. So you might wonder, how come they got Pro Bowlers inside like McDaniel and whatnot, and they can't run inside? You got a center in there that's worried more about the snap and learning assignments and making sure everybody goes the right way. It will suffer your run game.
He not only has their third center, but he's never played center before.
Cunningham fires a shot to the end zone. You heard Joe Gibbs on the pregame show talking about Randall Cunningham having the strongest arm of all the quarterbacks one year at the quarterback challenge, and he's really still got that pop on his fastball, too much sometimes.
We mentioned Lindsey, and he had never played center. He's been a guard and a tackle for the Vikings. He played in the World League last spring, and they lose Christie, and then they lose Dill, their number 2 center, and a couple weeks ago they got to put Lindsey in there. He'd never played center before other than a few snaps just as security in the preseason, and they stick him in there. He's got to make all the calls, all the adjustments, and now they've given him some help with the other offensive linemen, but it's been a tough adjustment on him, and it has a real effect on the offense.
He must be a great athlete, because you can put your true good athletes at that center position, don't you?
Well, there's been some exceptions. There was a guy that played in the NFC West a few years ago when we were coaching against him when I was with the Saints. I think his name was Randy Cross or something like that. I don't know.
Wasn't that bad, though, was he? He went to the Pro Bowl 3 times. With a timeout, last Sunday, the Vikings missed a chance to clinch a playoff berth against the Lions. With 2 minutes remaining in the game, Eddie Murray missed this 37-yard field goal, which would have given the Vikings a 10-point lead. And then, with 3 seconds remaining, Scott Mitchell connects with Herman Moore for the winning touchdown, and the Lions beat the Vikings 14-13.
The key in that game was early in the game, Denny Green's offense got down well inside the red zone and only got 13 points. They got down there 4 times and got a touchdown and 2 field goals. We've seen them down here so far once today, and they've gotten that touchdown. You want to go to the playoffs, you score touchdowns.
Let's see what they do now. They've converted their previous 3 third down tries. 3rd and 8. Even Chris Carter, the magician, can't make that play, and that'll do it for the first quarter of play. The game tied at 7-all. Now in the NFL, was for 4 years the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. And here in Minneapolis. Washington up 20.
He did that time. They rolled up their corner and doubled Harrison, and I believe that Harbaugh saw this, so he's going to throw a quick one out there to Dawkins because that corner's going to be off. He's got that deep zone. He's going to be off.
Hey, Harbaugh knows John Randall's over there, too. He's gotten that pressure on him, and the Minnesota Vikings know he's going to throw some quick stuff because of that guy right there.
And there he is, the fierce one. John Randall with 1 sack already. They go to a draw play. That's one way to negate his pass rush. Marshall Faulk takes it straight up the middle and gets about 3 yards. Dixon Edwards, an outside linebacker, making the stop from Minnesota, former Cowboy. Randall told us yesterday that He just loves the game so much. That's why he plays so hard. He knows it's not going to last a lot of years. He was an undrafted free agent out of Texas A&I.
He's got his war paint off.
He
Here's
does.
a guy that usually has himself. He looks like something out of Phantom of the Opera or the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And now he's going clean.
But he's coming hard. Ready to tee off again on third down. Here's a throw and a catch over the middle. On the run is Marvin Harrison. Beautifully done by the Colts. A crossing pattern. And Harbaugh threads it in with perfect lead to his young receiver for the gain for a first down.
Well, that time the Vikings had a zone blitz on. They were rushing 6 guys and covering with 5. Those corners are playing off in a zone, so they're actually dropping. Even though they're rushing guys, they're actually dropping. So if you can pick up that rush, if you can block that zone blitz, you can usually find somebody open, and that's what they did that time with Harrison.
Good for a 16-yard gain on the play. First and 10 for the Colts at their 34. The option, and it works well as Harbaugh down the line option pitches to his trailer, and it's ahead for a gain of almost 10 yards on the play. Marshall Faulk was the runner.
Well, this is a play you don't see very often in the National Football League. The option play, fakes it to the back, going up inside, comes down the outside, and flips it off the Faulk. Now, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to take advantage of John Randall playing defensive end. I'm sure he hasn't seen the option play since college, his days at Texas A&I, and he bit on the inside run, and there's nobody to take Faulk.
2 points there, though. Harbaugh was smart enough not to get too close to John Randall on that option. And secondly, John Randall got all the way down the field and makes the tackle.
He did.
There's a defensive end catching Marshall Faulk after he gets a pitch from the quarterback. That was impressive.
Well, the thing about John Randall, and you know, we used to practice against the Vikings up here in Wisconsin when we were training at lacrosse. The Saints, we would alternate. One year we'd come up here and work against them, and they'd come down there and work against us. The thing about Randall is he is a all-out guy on every play. From snap to whistle, he's going to give it 110%, and I'm sure he is today when the playoffs are on the line.
Coach Fazio, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, says that Randall has a sweat in the locker room a half hour before they come out. With his gyrations, he's getting so pumped to play. He just loves it. Marshall Faulk runs on second and less than a yard. And he gets out and across the 45 for a first down.
One thing you got to do with a guy like Randall, you can't always put 2 guys on him. You know, we've seen him being blocked with the guard and the tackle, with the tackle and the tight end. We've seen him being single blocked on some passing plays where he actually beat Meadows. But you've got to mix it up on the guy, Randy. You know this is an offensive lineman, that if the guy knows how he's going to be blocked all the time, he can adjust and beat it.
We got to find a way to make him think he's going to get double teamed and just maybe get a little touch on him.
That's right.
Marshall Faulk is now within 18 yards of 1,000 for the season. And he's still got that burst as Marshall Faulk comes out of the blocks and shoots ahead for a gain of 12 yards and a Colt first down. Corey Fuller makes the stop at 12 yards downfield.
Minnesota brought Dwayne Rudd up on this side. He's bringing a blitz this way, and they do a good job inside of overcoming that. Adam Meadows doesn't get a great block on Randall, but he's on him long enough that he can't crash that thing down and make the tackle there.
That's right. When they bring the guy on the outside, run on the outside, that means Randall's got to slant inside and take that inside gap. But Meadows got him enough to get Faulk through there.
Colts trail by 3. It's 10-7, second quarter. As Harbaugh gets time, stands in, throws a fastball. It's taken inside the 35-yard line for a gain of 7 by Marvin Harrison. Ed McDaniel, the middle linebacker, on the stop.
Ed McDaniel, normally a outside linebacker with Brady, the normal middle linebacker, out. He goes to middle. Rudd goes to outside. Harrison decides, no more squirreling around and trying to make moves. I'll just try to head upfield and finds himself a middle linebacker.
And that middle linebacker there, he can run. Now, there's a guy that can run. You talk about that Viking defense. It's a very fast defense.
Harbaugh, second down and 4. Nicely timed throw to the outside to Sean Dawkins for a first down. As the Colts move the ball now inside the 30 of the Vikings on an 8-yard pass play.
You know, a lot of times, Coach, it seems that offense and defense can be like a boxing match. And an offense can use little jabs and hits to keep a defense off balance. And right now, Harbaugh and this offense are jabbing this Vikings defense in the face and have got them kind of not stumbling, but they're back on their heels a little bit. They're not in the attack mode they normally are. And John Dawkins, you can see in these catches this year, having in his career year.
I think this is what the Colts have got to do today against this Viking team.
That Dawkins' personal foul call last week against the Dolphins helped inspire the team. He threw a defensive back down early in that game, and it picked up the whole intensity level of the entire Colt team as Marshall Faulk runs the ball on first down. Continues to get good yardage. He's down to the 20 for a gain of 6.
John, you mentioned earlier one of the ways to negate the rush is the draw play or the delay play. That time there, they fake the draw. Both offensive linemen show pass. You get those defensive linemen running upfield, and that opens up creases for the backs to run. And the Colts have been using the draw play quite a bit so far today, and I'm sure they'll continue to do it because that'll make Randall hesitate just a little bit.
And with that run, Marshall Faulk goes over 1,000 yards rushing in a season for the 3rd time in his 4-year career. One year he was beset by injuries. This time on 2nd and 4, he is stuffed by the middle backer Ed McDaniel and by the rookie defensive end Stalin Colonnade.
Remember earlier in the game, they motioned Dilger over. They set him at tight end. It looked like a run. Same deal here, except this time Minnesota reads it perfectly, especially McDaniel, the middle linebacker. He sees that motion. He looks at the body language of the lineman. He knows it's a run. That's a quick, easy fill for this linebacker out of Clemson.
Not a big linebacker, 5'11", 230, but point out the speed he has. He gets in position here on 3rd down. Harbaugh takes a look, and off he goes up the middle of the field, and he has a first down ball on the field, and the Vikings have it. At the 10-yard line, Dwayne Washington, the young cornerback, bounced on the mistake.
Well, one of the things when you're a quarterback, and he's claiming he was down. Yeah.
He went. That ball came out as he slid.
Well, if he's knees on the ground, then he should have the ball.
Now watch his knees. Watch him slide. Remember, this play's dead. If he slides the old baseball slide, it's dead now. He was getting hit from the backside. We were kind of blocked out. Let's look at this one. Slide out. That is a fumble. The knee was not down to a full slide because normally that ball is spotted when that knee hits in a slide.
Bill Carollo and his crew, unfortunately for all officials, get just a one full speed look at it.
Yeah. This is where all the replay advocates are going to be arguing for replay in a play like this.
You know, I was wrong. You look at that angle from the backside. His knee is down. That was a slide that before the ball came out, he was down.
Looks like the officials
Once
are going to go
that knee
way
hits,
also.
he's down. It doesn't matter what happens. Just has to touch it.
It won't be popular here in Minnesota if they reverse this thing, but it's absolutely correct.
The ruling on the field is he's down by contact. The quarterback gave himself up. It'll be a first down.
Well done by Carollo and his crew.
Well, we say he said gave himself up. We said slide. Same difference. And you see that knee. Watch the left knee. Down. I mean, it's simultaneous, but, you know, we're talking slow motion.
Yeah, right, Randy.
Real action. The official does a great job on that.
Really a great job. Yeah, right there. It looks like it might have been coming out. I don't know.
Depending on your angle. But like you said, they only got one live action look at it.
It is a first down for the Colts. The 12th play of the drive coming up. And the Viking defense comes up and puts the hit on Cliff Gross. And now Vikings are saying we got the ball again. Randall and Jerry Ball combined down the stop. That's 96 Jerry Ball.
Hey, they don't like that call. But if this has done anything, this crowd is starting to get into this football game.
The crowd's getting into it, and that Viking defense is upset, and they're right on that play. Boy, you saw about 10 or 8 or 9 guys around that football.
But
look at them.
How do you not block John Randall? Meadows went inside after the linebacker. Nobody breathed on Coach Fazio, the defensive coordinator's star defensive lineman, John Randall.
Now he can make blockers whiff. He's so quick, John Randall. Now there's a timeout signal for with 8:17 to go in the first half, and the Vikings lead 10-7. Colts challenging with the ball at the 16-yard line of Minnesota. Second down and 11.
Well, they've seen a little bit of blitz, a little bit of everything so far out of Minnesota defense. They're looking right now to get a matchup, and they've got Marshall Faulk split to the top of the screen as a halfback.
That is Faulk at the very top of your screen, the upper right. Harrison in motion. Harbaugh. Again on the run. Here comes the linebacker, Dwayne Rudd, going at his head and gets him down at the 14-yard line, and he got a shot on the head of Jim Harbaugh, who's not up.
I tell you what, if he caught him on the head, that was not unintentional. He was bringing that arm the entire way at the Colts quarterback. Jim Harbaugh has to come out of the pocket. He's getting good pressure. And when he runs, watch the arm coming at the end here from Rudd. Bang.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional, Randy. I think what happened there, he's going for the tackle, and Harbaugh ducks it. Kind of ducks it the last minute. See right there, and he gets his head. I don't think Rudd was going for the head initially. I think he was going for a high tackle up around the shoulders, and when Harbaugh ducked, he got the head right there.
Going to wrap him up aggressively, as you defensive guys might say.
That's right.
Good to see Jim Harbaugh up. They're thin at quarterback. Kerwin Bell. Kelly Holcomb. That's Holcomb who's getting the call to warm up now. Free agent. Harbaugh has to come off for at least one play. The Vikings, who can win a playoff spot with a victory today or with a Washington loss, continue to get no help from the Eagles as Washington continues to lead Philadelphia 21-14.
Well, you know that fumble or lack of fumble by Harbaugh a couple plays earlier where they ruled his knee was down, I think may have been the best thing that happened. This crowd is going crazy right now, and that defense is playing with more fire since that happened.
And you've got this backup quarterback in a third down in the red zone. He won't remember his name, much less what the snap count's on.
He had time to throw about 2 warm-up passes. Kelly Holcomb stands in, gets some time, makes a connection, gets the ball downfield to Chris Doring, who is stopped at the 10-yard line.
Well, he did the smart thing there. The quarterback, Holcomb, did the smart thing. One thing you don't want to down here, you don't want to turn the ball over. You don't want to throw a bad throw, get an interception, or get a sack and take yourself out of field goal range. So right there, he got rid of the ball, a good safe pass, and now they can kick the field goal and tie the game up.
Well, Jim Harbaugh on the sideline looks like he's suffering pretty good.
Yeah, he
from
does.
That headshot. I mean, he is this offense right now.
Gary Blanchard has hit 30 of 39, and he drills it right down the middle. And with the field goal, he ties the game at 10-all. The Colts kick off when we come back. This is Don Criqui with Jim Moore and Randy Cross back at Minneapolis. Jim Harbaugh, starting quarterback for the Colts, dinged on a tackle, clean tackle all the way by linebacker Dwayne Rudd of the Vikings. Has come out of the game. It looks like he might be back in there as the kickoff comes down to David Palmer of the Vikings. Game tied, set 10-10. Palmer small as a penalty marker comes in. But very elusive at 5'8", 165 pounds. A 17-yard return. Now another marker comes in late.
The second one's going to be for a punch thrown.
I think it was by Palmer. Looked to me like Palmer was responding to some guy grabbing him there, and he threw, it looked to me like he threw a punch. And the first one's got to be on the Vikings, too, because that's probably an illegal block or something. This might really put the Vikings in the hole.
6:52 to go in the first half as Randall Cunningham is back out to work for the Minnesota Vikings. Kenny Green, you talked to earlier today, Jim Mora. He cut off that sumptuous breakfast that he normally has served to his players Saturday morning, and surprised them even more by no practice.
No practice, no breakfast.
No offense up until today. They've gotten some from
There
Cunningham.
are 3 fouls on the play. Personal foul on the kicking team, number 31. Personal foul on the receiving team on number 18. There was also holding on the receiving team during the run back. By rule, the enforcement will be the receiver's ball at the spot of their foul, first down.
All that, and the ball stays where it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of verbal talk there, and nothing happens with the football.
You faster to say who didn't do something.
Denny Green's offense, though, we talk about the Pro Bowlers on the left side of McDaniel and Stuzzi, and the big houses on the right side with Dixon and Stringer. Those guys have got to start blasting some holes and get that running game going for Randall Cunningham.
They are enormous, those right side blockers for the Vikings, both well over 350. Here is Robert Smith on the run. The race is on, and Robert Smith has the lead. Catch him if you can. He's inside the 20. He's going to go all the way down to the goal line. They're going to rule him out at the 4. 76 yards.
This might sound funny, but it's all set up by a good defensive play. Look at Footman come inside. That creates that hole on the defense. Smith goes through it, and then it's just Robert Smith being a sprinter, Jim.
Yeah, well, a lot of times, like you say, Footman came inside, and that linebacker has to compensate when the defensive lineman goes in right there, and sometimes that linebacker just can't get there. And Smith makes a nice cut there at the line of scrimmage, and then his speed just gets him down here to the 4-yard line.
So the Vikings now challenging to take the lead for a second time. Our run straight up the middle by big Leroy Horde, and he takes it inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line, where safety Jason Belzer knocks him down. Second and goal from there.
You know, we mentioned earlier before the game that they had to get the ball to their big playmakers, guys that can make something happen, Chris Carter and Jake Reed. But another guy that can make something happen is Robert Smith. And that offensive line, like you mentioned, Randy, those guys have got to start knocking people off the ball because they're capable of it, and it looked like they did something good on that play.
And Robert Smith is not out of the game in this situation because he's just tired. You got a guy like Leroy Horde who's got a lot more oomph in his package than the speed of Robert Smith. He can put some hurt on somebody if they're going to meet him in the hole.
Cunningham, pump fakes, fires, got an open man. It's Chris Carter. His second touchdown catch of the day. His 12th of the season. And the Vikings take back the lead.
Play action inside for Randall Cunningham. Look at that quick fake by Cunningham with the pump.
Yeah, but here's the
Where's
whole
the
deal.
defender?
Did you see who was covering him? The safety, the strong safety, Robert Blackman. You don't put a strong safety on Chris Carter. You take a fast, quick corner and put him out there.
Well, isn't that good? Getting a good matchup?
Yeah, it's getting a good matchup, but defensively, you don't.
Oh, you defensive guys. Give the offensive guy a little credit.
The extra point is up and good. Got to give the Vikes credit, and Randall Cunningham, who takes him right down the field. This is a guy who had only 14 yards passing in the second half last week, but he's lighting it up now. Harbaugh still suffering the effects of a clean tackle earlier in the game that knocked him out for the moment. It looks like he has a stiff neck. Kelly Holcomb, a free agent, going to be quarterbacking the Colts after this kickoff. All hit downfield. And here comes the return by Jacquette. Nate Jacquette out to the 26-yard line. And there Indianapolis goes on offense. First down and 10 with the Vikings in the lead 17-10. John Randall, the force in action earlier.
Well, you're taking some looks at what John Randall has done earlier in the game. There he beats Meadows, just a one-on-one block coming inside. Here's the play where he was sucked inside on the option fake, came right down the line to tackle Fulton. Another big play there. Nobody blocked him on that one, as you mentioned earlier, Randy, so you expect him to make the play if they're running right at him.
College draft in inexact science. This guy was never drafted, signed as a free agent. Marshall Falk stuck hard by Stalin Colonnay.
Stalin Colonnay out of Boston College, named Stalin, Man of Steel. Looks a little bit like Superman right there.
He's a big guy. He's about 6'6", about 280 pounds, and
he's working against Tony Mandrich, who's no midget.
No,
he's 325. He's given away almost 50 pounds to Mandrich.
Got his first start last week, guys, and the offensive lineman against him in that game tried to shake him up and hit him and kind of give him a shot in the face. He wouldn't take it.
Holcomb fires, and he might be picked. Looks like a Viking pickoff on the run. It's Corey Fuller. He's inside the 15-yard line and all the way down to the 10. Tremendous pickoff by Corey Fuller. Got it right off the turf and then ran it back 23 yards.
Well, this is just a bad throw by Kelly Holcomb. You're going to see the receiver come down, and he's going to run an out route, and the ball is underthrown. The ball's going to be thrown behind the receiver and low, and Fuller's going to come right up there and make the interception. Good play by Fuller, watching the quarterback, reacting to the football.
And now he does the curly shuffle. You expect one of those old Three Stooges movies or music to come out here.
Well, that's what happens when you get a young, inexperienced quarterback in there. You know, he's going to make mistakes like that, especially in critical games here, and it's hurt.
For the Vikings, the playoffs have begun today. They've got to win to get in. And now they're looking to take command of the game. They lead by 7. Robert Smith with just his 5th carry, and he already has 80 yards rushing as he approaches the all-time single-season rushing record for the Vikings, even though he's missed 2.5 games. Washington again extends to a 14-point lead over the Eagles.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe a franchise like Minnesota with some of the great backs, when you think back of Terry Allen and Chuck Foreman and you know, Osborne and those guys back in the old days, that just a little over 1,200 yards is a franchise rushing record. It's amazing.
12,001, that's it. Cunningham to Horde. He's in, standing up. They like this in Minneapolis.
Well, if you're going to go somewhere, you go in there where the big boys live. We talked about that offensive line having to do it. All set up by Corey Fuller's great interception and catch. Holcomb threw it because Harbaugh's not in there, but that line set it up perfectly for Leroy Horde with a big, big hole.
Yeah, and I think, again, you know, we talked about this during the break. This team looks so much more excited and fired up since that play by Harbaugh when they ruled it a fumble. Yeah.
Extra point is blocked. So the Vikings will now hold to a 23-10 lead as the NFL on NBC continues.
Most low-price computer apps.
Block on the linebacker. This is exactly as an offensive player. When you look at a playbook, you go to training camp, you say, gee, that's how that should work. Doesn't get any better than that.
You know, like what you say, man, it's perfect by the offense because the defense didn't play it too badly. The defensive end looked for McDaniel and tried to close it down. The linebacker was sitting right in the hole, but great execution by the offense to get the touchdown.
Good lead block by Evans, but that Randall McDaniel is the man when you talk about a pulling offensive lineman in the league today.
Well, he's going to start his 9th straight Pro Bowl this year, which is an all-time NFL record.
And an NFL record was just broken with the block extra point. Murray's consecutive extra point streak stopped at 250. As the ball comes to the 20-yard line on a 20-yard return by Jacquet.
Well, here's a look at the blocked extra point, and you're going to see this guy right here on the end of the line, Orlando Bobo, number 74. He's got responsibility for that inside gap, so he should not let that happen. Now, they kind of took his attention with Blackman coming from the outside, but he's got to be responsible for that inside gap. He's got to step down, close it off. That shouldn't happen on an extra point or field goal.
There's no excuse for giving up that inside gap. I mean, that, as long as you coach, if you're going to make a mistake, make him go around the long side. And first block in 250 attempts, Eddie Murray had to be shell-shocked when he heard that double thump.
Holcomb throws the ball, does it nicely, gets it out to the 26-yard line to Marvin Harrison. Kelly Holcomb is a free agent from Middle Tennessee State. Originally signed with Tampa Bay as a free agent. Was in the World League with the Barcelona Dragons. Good arm, good size. Just never played in a big league in college, a good league, but not major college. And now he's called on in this important game that the Vikings have to win.
You know, like Harbaugh, he's got those plays on that left wristband. I wonder if it's the same plays, though. I wonder if it's a little short and limited list for the backup.
Probably the same one. Might be the same wristband.
He's pitching, though. He's out there throwing for a first down. Gets it across the 35-yard line to Sean Dawkins, who's out to the 38.
That was a good throw. That was a good, confident throw right there. He zinged that thing in there. And that's what they got to do with him. Yeah, Harbaugh's got his wristband on, too, so I guess they've got a different one for Holcomb. But I'll bet it's the same plays, Randy.
Harbaugh on the bench since he was scrambling earlier here in the second quarter, and Wayne Rudd tackled him and dinged him, and he hasn't been back since.
That's not fair. That's not calling plays. That's reading them. You're supposed to read defenses, not read plays.
Checks the armband, and here he goes as he stands in, and all he gets is a load of a blitzing linebacker. That was Dwayne Rudd, the rookie #1 draft choice from Alabama, who Coach Fazio said is as smart as they come. He's going to be a great player.
Well, this is another zone blitz by the Vikings, and you're going to see Rudd come right up the middle there, and nobody blocks him. Number 78, Terry Glenn, was kind of looking around there. He didn't block anybody. I think he was the guy responsible for Rudd.
Well, he's getting a little rip out of Randall with Meadows. Look at that left arm hit. That's why, too, Holcomb didn't have anywhere really to go. He couldn't have gone upfield because of Randall's push, and he couldn't go in the middle because of Rudd's blitz.
And now we're down to the 2-minute warning with the Vikings in the lead, 23-10. Down to the 2-minute warning after he was hit hard on a tackle that knocked him out of the game. Two other teams have made the playoffs with an 8-8 record. It's our friend Jim Mora. His Saints did it in 1990 as Jim watched them on a last-second field goal beat the Rams 20-17. Finished with a 500 record. Shaking your head, but happy to be there. You also were a wild card a couple years with a 12-4 record.
Yeah, you know, that was one of the more interesting seasons, that 1990 season. Bobby Aber didn't play, our #1 quarterback. He sat out. Frank Warren, one of our best defensive linemen, was out for a drug suspension, and we had to battle hard all year, and we got into the playoffs. That kick by Morton was the last play of the game. It was on a Monday night, the last game of the season, and that got us in the playoffs. And I think it was the first time all year we were at 500.
And the Jets also one year got into the playoffs with an 8-8 record. The Vikings could today should they lose. But Washington would also have to lose, and right now Washington is winning handily over the Eagles. Holcomb throws, picked off again. Robert Griffith on the run. Marvin Harrison makes the tackle, but Holcomb entering the game for Harbaugh has been a disaster so far for the Colts.
Well, you talked about that good aggressive throw Kelly Holcomb made on the short ones. I think maybe Lindy and Fonnie and the boys might want to limit him to the short ones for a while, because when he's getting more than 15 yards down the field, he underthrew one. He overthrows this one trying to get it to Dawkins, and you don't see a more opportunistic defense than the Minnesota Vikings under Denny Green. If you make a mistake, I guarantee you this defense is going to find a way to make you pay for it.
Well, you know, in recent years, Randy, as you mentioned, an opportunistic defense, they have been one of the leaders in the league from a standpoint of creating turnovers. But this year, they haven't been. And it's been a real mystery to both Denny, who expected more, Denny Green, and Foge Fazio, their defensive coordinator. Both of these guys have been kind of shocked by the fact that the defense hasn't played as well as they expected. Now, they've gotten some turnovers in this game, but they have not gotten a lot of turnovers this year. Going into the game, they've taken the ball away only 22 times, which is about 23rd worst, you know, the worst in the league. So they have not been as opportunistic this year as they have been in the past. But like you said, in the past, they've been awesome as far as taking the ball away.
Well, we're starting to see, too, and Lindy and Fonnie, unfortunately for him, is watching a Minnesota Vikings team that looks a lot more like that team that got off to the 8-2 start. The defense is getting the ball. The offense is moving it with the big plays.
And Randall Cunningham has really picked up his passing to the Vikings in this game with the big plays. Here's the handoff to Robert Smith, who broke the 76-yard run. Now is stopped for little or no gain. Might have gotten the yard. Taken down by Monty Montgomery. Coming it up at halftime. The NFL on NBC, Domino's Pizza halftime report with Greg Gumbel, Joe Gibbs, Chris Collinsworth, and Sam White. Scores and highlights. A feature on Jets cornerback Otis Smith, who will have his work cut out today in the second game that most of you will see. You'll be looking at Herman Moore, number 84, the Lions, coming at him.
Otis Smith has not had an easy week since he's been a Jet. It's either great or it's bad.
Now a little lob pass by Randall Cunningham to his tight end Andrew Glover, who's an interesting story. He was cut, played for the Raiders as a penalty marker down, was back home.
That's going to go against the Colts, too, Don.
It is. Bill Carollo now gives us this pronouncement.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 59 on the defense.
Stephen Grant.
To the goal, first down.
Middle backer was unnecessarily rough.
And it all happened after the play was over, which makes it a coach like yourself, Jim, all the more sick when you do a nice defensive play and then you watch your defense do something stupid and just give the offense yards.
Yeah, that's right, Randy. You know, especially down here, they've already got good field position. You're on your heels anyway, reeling defensively and offensively, and to have a player lose his poise like that after a good play just makes you sick.
Not making Lindy and Fonnie feel any better as he paces the sidelines. His future as the coach of the Colts in question. Throw and a catch. It's Glover over the middle. And Randall Cunningham auguring well for what the Vikings might do if they get into the playoffs, and it looks like they will as they now extend their lead to 30-10.
Boy, was that really set up by some great game planning by the coaches. They looked up, you see that cover 2 type defense. They're thinking wide receivers, and they love this tight end Glover, Jim.
Yeah, if you're gonna double the wideouts down there, that means that your tight end's going to be covered by a linebacker. And down here in the goal line area, that's just very, very difficult to do. And you know, they talk a lot about Reed, they talk a lot about Carter. They love this tight end Glover. They think he's a heck of an athlete.
And the Vikings check the probability chart, and they'll go for 2. Looking to build a 31-10 lead if they can. Randall Cunningham fires inerrantly, so it will stand at 29-10. The Vikings have scored 3 touchdowns in their last 8 offensive plays.
See, look at the room they're giving the receivers out here. You've got your safety. Now suddenly the linebacker's got to cover the tight end, just like Jim mentioned. Watch the tight end, look at the coverage. How sweet is that to get a middle linebacker on that big tight end?
Yeah, that was Stephen Grant. He was the guy that had the personal foul the play before. And Cunningham makes a nice throw, because all you got to do here is just get it right over the linebacker's head. Just throw it right over the linebacker's head, and you've got a touchdown right there. It's very, very difficult for a linebacker that coverage is very difficult for a linebacker. They just don't get a lot of work at it, first of all. But it's critical. I mean, it's crucial, because if he doesn't cover him, it's going to be a touchdown, just like it was there.
Well, yesterday in Green Bay, I referred to what Brett Favre was doing, is kind of smiling and dialing with his offense. Right now, Mr. Cunningham's got to have a pretty good smile on his face, because he's doing a great job of reading the defense and taking what it gives him. And right now, it's giving him stuff in chunks.
Yeah, and they needed to get stuff in chunks. Chris Carter told us yesterday, he says, when we make some plays downfield, they got to be big plays.
That's where they've been going, the downfield big plays, one after the other. The biggest, the run by Robert Smith for 76 yards that set up a touchdown. Again, Nate Jacquette does his best running the ball back. There's not a whole lot there. Ran it back 17 yards. It's a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Coming up next, game 2. Most of you will see a win-and-you're-in situation for Bill Parcells and his Jets as they face Barry Sanders and the Detroit Lions, each needing a victory to ensure themselves postseason slots. In this game, Barry Sanders will try to become only the 3rd man in NFL history to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season. That's next on most of these NBC stations. Others will see the Chargers battle the Broncos, or the Jaguars take on the Raiders. Check your local listings. Holcomb goes on a draw play out of the shotgun and gives the ball to Marshall Faulk. He does get plus yardage, about 3.
Coach, talk about Barry Sanders. I mean, when you coach against a running back like that, when you watch him on tape, can you imagine him ever not getting 2,000 yards?
Well, another fumble by the quarterback.
And the Vikings think they have it. They're so certain some of them are coming off the field, and wow, referee says yes they do. So the worst of times are back for Lindy Infante after that 0-10 start. And 3 wins in the last 5 games. Now the Colts, with their starting quarterback out, are in disarray.
Yeah, Holcomb's in the shotgun right there, and it doesn't even look like he's ready for the snap. See, he's pointing out there to his wide receiver, you know, be alert for the blitz.
That's a veteran center, Jay Lewinberg. He's got in there 58, giving him the ball. I mean, I was just going to say that, you know, the key here is hang, don't do anything stupid, and hope Jim Harbaugh can come back and dig you out of this hole. They get a touchdown here. I'm not sure if Jim Harbaugh can get out of this kind of a hole.
No, I don't. That'd just be too deep. And I don't know. It's hard to figure out who to blame right there. But when you've got a quarterback over there pointing to the defensive people, I'm sure he's not giving any kind of snap count. So absolutely, there's some confusion there. And Lewinberg snapped the ball. I don't know if they were going on a silent count or what. But Holcomb is not ready for it.
A lot of it, Jim, being a center in a shotgun before, is timing. You're used to a certain amount of timing from your quarterback. He's going to ask for it at a certain time. The crowd's going nuts. You know, you get up there, it's time to go. Lewinberg said, hey, it's time to go.
Yeah, but if he goes on the snap count, Randy, you can't snap. You know, you can't snap it till the the quarterback gives you the count. I know it's a tough job and it's a tough situation, but you know, he's got to know what to do there.
Jay Lewinberg, an inspirational story. His whole football career, he has suffered from diabetes, but says he has never missed a practice or a game, a single play. And he's an inspiration to a lot of youngsters with juvenile diabetes, as the throw into the end zone to Chris Carter is overshot. It is incomplete.
Cunningham throws another ball to the boundary to let his big receiver Carter try to get at that thing.
Yeah, you know, when I look at plays like this as they develop, and you're going to see Carter come down there and run a post route, you know, you say, even though it's a high pass, you almost expect Carter to make the catch. You know, I'm thinking there, I'm seeing the ball go over his head. I'm saying he's going to jump up there and come down with that thing some way. But that was just a little bit too high.
He's made some brilliant plays, as you pointed out.
And it's the mentality you said he had to have, Jim. He had to get the ball down the field and be more aggressive.
Get it to my big guys is the way he referred to it. Jake Reed hasn't been in the game plan much so far. Now swing pass to David Palmer. They use him all over the field, often as a slot back. He's a happy guy, likes to play football, and does it well.
Well, this was really a nice call by the Vikings offensive coaches, because they had the screen on, and the Colts were coming after him with the blitz, and had Palmer have caught that ball, he would have made good yardage, maybe even get into the end zone.
Ball positioned at the 23-yard line. Third down comes up now for the Vikings. Jake Reed is going wide to the left. He just signed this week a huge new contract, over $13 million over the next 4 years. Terrific 1-2 punch. Carter and Reed. Cunningham, he throws a pick. Puts it up the middle of the field, and Quentin Coriat, number 55. Gets rid of the ball, gets it to Rico Clark. Now penalty markers are down all over, but the Viking drive is stopped with 14 seconds to play in the first half.
Just when you say, gee, great decisions, great reading, Randall Cunningham throws a pass. He had no business throwing that ball in the middle, especially with bodies trying to grab him.
Well, that's life in the NFL, as you know, Randy. You know, it's going to be good times and bad times. And what happened here is Quentin Coriat, number 55, the guy that makes the interception, he was faking a blitz, and at the last minute, he came out, and they got double coverage on Glover, the tight end, the guy that Cunningham was throwing to.
Right there, Chris Carter, number 80, comes the face mask, and that was a full-fledged get your money's worth, grabbing by the face mask, the helmet, whatever I can get situation. That is dangerous.
Yeah, fortunately, he's okay. He really grabbed him. Rico Clark, who was the pitch man.
There are 2 fouls in the play after the interception. Illegal pass by the intercepting player. Personal foul, face mask on number 80 on the defense. Both penalties will offset. The receivers will keep the ball at the spot of their foul, intercepting spot.
Unfortunately, Rico Clark is up and all right. Randall Cunningham, as we look at a comparison in turnovers today, and the Colts with 3, and it's led to 12 of the Vikings' 29 points. They lead 29-10.
Yeah, they've been close, but the turnovers that the Colts have, the ones that they've gotten, they've given the Vikings good field position, and the Vikings have taken advantage of those with the 12 points. It all depends where those turnovers come.
All come back on the shotgun again to the draw play. Marshall Faulk running well. It's the final play perhaps of the half, where they're down to 8 seconds. He crosses the 40-yard line, and a timeout is signaled for with 6 seconds to play. There was a 22-yard gain on the run.
Look at Marshall Faulk. Is that guy having fun? There's Brad Johnson, the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, out with a neck injury, and that's why Randall Cunningham's in there. But Marshall Faulk on that play, you see a guy like that that's just smiling and having a great time, and you could almost read his lips right there where he's saying, I almost had it. Yeah, almost had the big one.
All right, and sometimes, you know, at the end of a half, or, you know, the defense is playing off. They're playing very conservative, and a back can break one like that. And all you got to do is get in the open a little bit, maybe break a tackle or two, and you got a chance to go all the way. So that's a good play call by Lindy, and a good run by Marshall Faulk. And when we talked to him yesterday, he was very upbeat, and he says, you know, this has been a tough year, but what we're doing is we're really playing for next year. He says that we got a lot of guys coming back. This is a young football team. In fact, he felt their youth hurt him early in the year. He says, as far as I'm concerned, we're playing for next year. We want to establish a foundation and a base for 1998.
They said, we're not out to ruin anybody else's season. We're out to win for ourselves. He's over 1,000 yards for the season with the 70 yards rushing that he has today, Marshall Faulk. Now Dwayne Clemens, a defensive end, 92 left early for the Vikings.
Offsides, number 92, defense. Unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, you know, the Colts avoided that touchdown we were talking about off that turnover. Now it's very important for Lindy Foddy's football team here to do something that doesn't do anything stupid.
That's right.
Take your shot, do your thing, but you want to get inside, check out your number 4, see if Harbaugh's all right, and come back in here for the second half with a chance to get back at this football team.
Kelly Holcomb stands in, and John Randall misses him, but then it's Dwayne Clemens who comes as the second pass rusher and sweeps him under in the first half. It's down to 1 second now to play. Players were leaving the field. There's still a second to play. It was loss of 12.
Well, the clock stopped on that sack here at the end of the half, at the end of the game, and now it's over as he restarts the clock. But Clemens gets a garbage sack because John Randall had Holcomb's undivided attention.
Well, I think Meadows has seen every move in the book today, this first half by John Randall.
He thinks he's seen every move.
It is 29-10, Vikings at the half. Now we'll join Greg Gumbel in our New York studio.
The Domino's Pizza.
Don Criqui with Jim Moore and Randy Cross back at Minneapolis. Randall Cunningham, who had been ineffective last week in the loss to Detroit, has thrown for 3 first-half touchdowns. He's getting the ball to his big guys like he said he would.
And he needed to do that to get in the end zone because that's where they've been having problems. And he told us yesterday, he says, we got to come out and jump on these guys early. And they've done that, scoring on 5 possessions.
And actually, from the Indianapolis side point, 10 points. They got 10 points with Harbaugh. They got nothing but turnovers and trouble when they didn't have Jim Harbaugh. And it's a great sign for them that he's warming up and going to be playing in this second half.
Well, he'll have to wait to come out because the Vikings have it to start the third quarter. And Palmer is taken down way back at the 14-yard line. Good special teams coverage by Indianapolis. As we look now at the Coors Light halftime statistics. Vikings with 203 yards. Turnovers have been a factor.
But you look at that balance, and you also look at the fact of just the chunks they're getting. Robert Smith with that great big run, 76 yards there, and then the receivers for the Vikings making the big plays and the big catches.
Yeah, Carter's got 4 catches in the first half. That's 3 more than he had the whole game last week against Detroit. So they're getting, like you mentioned, Don, at halftime, they're getting the ball to the guys that can make something happen for them.
Surprising thing, really, that we've been talking a lot about Carter, but over on the other side, Jake Reed, who's been a big play guy, too, has been shut out.
He sure has. They haven't gone even looked at him. He came in with 67 catches. No throws in his direction today. Robert Smith runs for the Vikings out to the 20-yard line. As we check the Vikes on their first half possessions, it started off not too good.
Yeah, well, they've got 5 scores here, and then the other 2 are interceptions. But after that crucial interception early, Cunningham has really played well and gotten him in the end zone. And this is what they've got to do. They got to get in that end zone. They got to score points. And you do that by getting the ball to the key guys.
And he's only really thrown 2 bad passes. And you saw both of them on that graphic, those 2 interceptions. That's the key in the second half. No dumb passes out of Randall Cunningham so they can win this game.
You know you're going good when you haven't punted through the first half, and the Vikings haven't punted yet. Robert Smith breaks a first down run from his 21-yard line. He's ahead for 12 yards, and the Vikings move on.
Look at the offensive line in this area right here. The guards and the centers. Randall McDaniel. You've got Christie. You've got Lindsey. You've got Dixon. That's just being physical. That's just taking care of the guys inside.
Well, that was a real nice move, too, by Smith. You know, the Colts were slanting one way, and he saw it happen, and he broke it back the other way. Good move at the line of scrimmage by him.
Randall Cunningham, what pop he has on the ball. Just a flick of the wrist, and he triggers it to a tight end, Greg DeLong, and he's ahead for a Viking first down out to the 45-yard line. This guy looks good today.
Yeah, Cunningham is really having a good game, and I think one of the things they can do, they came out, even though they're throwing the bootleg here to DeLong on the first 2 plays, they came out and they gave the ball to Robert Smith, and I think you're going to see Smith carrying the ball more this second half. They've got a lead. They're going to use up some clock time. Certainly there's a lot of time left, but I think they can rely a little bit more on the running game than they did early in the first half.
And Robert Smith is now the all-time Viking leader for rushing in a single season. But he's not done as he gets some more. Breaks out for a 6-yard gain straight ahead. In 11 years with the Philadelphia Eagles, Randall Cunningham quarterbacked 5 playoff teams. Had some terrific years, but he was more of a threat, you felt, Jim, more as a runner than as a passer.
Well, the thing about Cunningham, he's a tremendous athlete. Now, he's not the athlete that he used to be, but you always had to worry about him scrambling, and because of his athletic ability, he could make some big plays in the passing game.
Made some today, and Robert Smith has made some running the ball. He's over 100 yards rushing. Near side throw is incomplete. That time they did go to Jake Reed, Randy.
Well, that was almost one of those passes I was talking about. Rico Clark, the rookie corner, working against Jake Reed. If he gets a little bit more of a break on this ball, see him break and hesitate. Without the hesitation, I think he catches that thing and he goes all the way in the other direction. By formation, that was the only way Randall Cunningham could throw that football. There was nobody out on the other side.
He's got to be careful, though, Randy. You know, like you say, he can't be making bad throws, bad decisions.
On third down, Randall Cunningham fires up the middle, and the ball is knocked away. Chris Walsh was going for it. So the Vikings failed to convert on third down, and they will punt for the first time as Mitch Berger comes out on the field.
Well, Cunningham's going to look first for the outside receiver, and that guy's covered, so he comes into Walsh, and Walsh is coming in from an outside alignment. Not a good throw, but Walsh had a chance to get it and probably should have.
Jim, doesn't that long loping delivery sometimes Randall Cunningham get him in trouble in those little short passes?
Yeah, because people can, with the long loping delivery, people can break on the ball. Defensive players can break on the ball and react to it.
The NFL on NBC continues, and the Colts will have the ball.
No, I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me.
Buick LeSabre is built to keep you safe and secure. A comforting thought, especially for those who aren't even in the car.
Stand by me.
Honey, I'm going to Staples to pick up a few gifts. Be back soon.
Attention shoppers, looking for the perfect gift? Well, check out aisle 3 for great prices on Sharp mobile organizers. And save on Panasonic phones. No, not you! You! Yes! And I, or any husband, would love one of those nice global chairs. I need a leather one! Get a leather chair!
For great gift ideas and over 7,000 items at guaranteed low prices at Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
You know, racing for interstate means my battery has enough power to run my car, as well as some other race necessities, like this mini fridge, track lighting, my foot massager, a window unit. And for those long races, who could forget the espresso maker? Heck, I even had a big screen put in for my friends.
Interstate batteries, power fast, built to last.
Hey, Bobby, the burrito's done yet?
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by IBM, solutions for a small planet. By Buick LeSabre, for safety and peace of mind. By Staples, the office superstore. And by American Express, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. American Express helps you do more.
Bright and sunny on this December day in the Twin Cities. Temperature in the teens. Perfect playing conditions here in the Metrodome as Jim Harbaugh returns after being knocked out of the game early in the second quarter when he scrambled and was hit, clean hit. They need him now. The Colts trailing 29-10. Marshall Faulk is stuck by one of the 4 rookies who start for Minnesota. Defensive tackle Tony Williams.
Right there after that field goal is when Jim Harbaugh left the game, and that's how they finished things up without Jim Harbaugh. Now they've got him back in the game, and you can see early they're not going to do anything too crazy with Jim Harbaugh in here. They go right to the run. They're going to protect and use Dilger and or a fullback to protect that backside and keep John Randall off number 4.
Yeah, they have extra blockers on his blind side, the left side of the line. Pick up the blitz. Harbaugh throws, but he's too high for Marshall Faulk.
And as you mentioned, Randy, that time they threw the ball, and that was only a 3-man route. Dilger was in as a blocker. You'll see 85 Dilger in as a blocker. The only 3 receivers were Falk and the 2 wideouts, Harrison and Dawkins. So that means they're protecting with 7 guys.
And nobody's open. I mean, and that's the trade-off. You know, you think about that, folks out there. You're worried about your quarterback, but suddenly then you hamstring your offense so much. Is it really worth, you know, what you're giving the extra protection to? Let the quarterback go.
When they had everybody running patterns in the first half, Harbaugh was indeed moving the team. He needs 9 here. Here comes the rush. He gets it away. He's got his man. Harrison on the run. Is ahead for a first down out to the 43-yard line of 23 yards on the play.
This again was a zone blitz by the Vikings. They rushed 5, covered with 6. And again, if you've got time there against that zone blitz, there's going to be a avoidable zone, and you're going to find somebody open, and that's exactly what happened. Again, Harbaugh, with his mobility, was able to step up in the pocket and escape the rush.
That ball came loose there as he was on the ground, so after the contact. But nice job there by Meadows on Randall. Had him one-on-one and ran him right by Harbaugh.
Meadows, the rookie left tackle for the Indianapolis Colts. To the draw, Zach Crockett busts it up the middle, and he's all the way down to the 46-yard line of the Vikings. He got 11 yards and a first down.
Well, Jim, you look at a defense that's attacking like this. What do? You send your guys up the field. You get that quarterback. Well, nice call by Lindy and Fani giving the ball to Zach Crockett here. They barely even had to breathe on Jerry Ball and John Randall. Look how fast he blurs by Meadows. That's kind of a he'll claim credit for a block on that, I guarantee you, but that's not much of an effort.
He wasn't worried about the draw. He wasn't worried about a running play that time.
Quick drop. There's a throw off target. As Harbaugh has to hurry, he was throwing to Sean Dawkins. Alan Colonnay may have had a hand on the ball. He's playing well with the rookie defensive left end for the Vikings, number 99.
Well, really the key so far for Lindy and Fani's offense working against this Minnesota defense is the fact that Jim Harbaugh so far in the second half is vertical. He hasn't been hit. He hasn't been challenged physically. And when you got a quarterback, for those of you that might have been with us earlier, that's been hit in the head region and had a little head injury, you want to keep people off him.
Colts are moving the ball downfield since Harbaugh's come back in. This is the first possession of the second half. Deep drop, lets it fly. Got it. Woo, looks like somebody got tackled out there. So far, no flags.
Somebody did get tackled. Dwayne Washington flat tackled him. Harbaugh can't believe it.
Only illegal if you get caught.
That wasn't pass interference, Jim, and I never held.
Well, I was.
And I'm lying even if you got pictures. And we got pictures.
Here's a look right here. Washington on Dawkins. Well, what happens there is Washington trips over Dawkins' feet, but as he falls, he kind of grabs the leg. So I think the official just saw the trip and not the grab.
But it brings up third down and 10. Harbaugh takes a look, swings it out to Marshall Faulk. He's on the run. He has the first down and more as he takes the ball inside the 30-yard line down to the 27. So on third and 10, the Colts come up with an 18-yard pass play.
You know, Randy, you mentioned that it's very important for the Colts to protect Harbaugh. On this drive, on 4 different occasions, the Vikings have sent either 5 or 6 guys. Now, that time they only sent 4. He does get a hit by Clemens, but a nice throw and a nice run here by Falk.
Well, the hit really wasn't the bad thing by Clemens. It got him. It was that snapping. His head hit down on the ground after Clemens put him down on the ground. Nothing illegal about the hit originally by Clemens.
But they do get 18 yards and a first down. Handoff. And the carry by Cliff Gross is for very little. Maybe a yard down to the 27-yard line. As we mentioned, Harbaugh came in with a quarterback rating over the last 3 games of 110 plus. And for the year, he's the 8th highest rated quarterback in the NFL, almost an 89 rating.
When you see Harbaugh there with his hands over his ear holes like that, what he's doing here, he's blocking out the crowd noise so he can hear the audio play coming in from the sideline.
Hey, and they've got a guy on a motorcycle, a Harley, adding to the noise. Look at this guy. You got a ticket? I don't see a pass. Look at that guy. You know what I bet? I bet that guy shaves his top of his head so he can look like that. That can't be. Look at him.
I know one thing. He wouldn't be dressed like that if we were playing outside today.
No, don't bet on it. People like that.
Look at him.
Hey, there's stadiums full of stadium's full of people that wear no shirts in weather as cold as this.
Yeah, it looks like Tarek Glenn, the rookie guard for the Colts, is leaving the field. I don't know what happened to him, but he was their #1 pick this year. They actually wanted him to be the offensive starting left tackle. They drafted him #1, Meadows #2, but Glenn was late coming into training camp, so they had to put him at guard.
And Eugene Chung, number 66, goes in at right guard next to Tony Mandarich, number 79.
Second down, the Colts need 9. Harbaugh goes through his reads and gets Dawkins down to the 14-yard line. So the Indianapolis offense right back up to speed with Harbaugh back in the game here in the third quarter.
Watch the job Waddell does out here helping on Randall. Meadows tries a short set, loses him, but there's a little game plan, and that's taking care of your quarterback and your rookie left tackle, making sure they don't take a shot on the quarterback so he can get the ball off to his receiver, Dawkins.
Colts drive closer, trailing 29-10 as they trail at the half. Marshall Faulk on the draw. This has worked well. They get it down to the 10-yard line.
I think the Colts have done a good job on this drive of keeping the Vikings off balance. You know, they've run a draw. They're running different kinds of pass routes. They're splitting Marshall Faulk out. They split Dilger out a couple times. They're tight end. That time they had number 81 Pollard in there at tight end. He was off the ball. So they're keeping the Vikings off balance so they just can't line up and come after Harbaugh every time.
Well, especially here in the red zone, they'd like them to attack. Then you take your shot with your receivers because you know you can block a blitz unless they bring more than you got.
Pitch back. Marshall Faulk turns the corner inside the 10, and he's belted out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. Close to, but not quite enough for the first down. It'll bring up third down and about a yard as cornerback Dwayne Washington knocks him out of bounds.
Well, one of the things about, you know, we mentioned the speed that Smith has. Here's Dawkins, number 87, the wide receiver, getting a block down there on Dwayne Washington. Very important that receivers block. If you're going to break long runs, now here they're not going to break a long run because they're in the red zone, but if you're going to break a long run, those wide receivers have got to do a good job of blocking downfield.
Dilger, the Colt tight end, caught 3 for touchdowns against the Dolphins last week. They haven't thrown to him yet today. Right up the middle they go on a power blast with Cliff Gross running the ball. Big back from Texas A&M takes it down to the 3-yard line where the rookie safety Torian Gray brought him down.
Well, the Colts offensive line turned the front four for the Minnesota Vikings into a speed bump there.
Yeah, you know, and when it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, I really like it when an offensive team down here is going to line up and just run the football. It's just an awful lot of confidence in your running game and your offensive line. They went right over their rookie offensive guard, Terry Glenn.
Pitch back. On the run and into the end zone go the Indianapolis Colts. Marshall Faulk on the payoff end. So the Colts inch their way back into the game, down 29-16.
Well, with this touchdown here, we're definitely got a ball game.
Well, remember what we said, Jim. You know, Jim Harbaugh gets a chance to come in here into the second half. Is he all right? Can he lead this team? We've answered that question. We've answered the question of whether or not this Colt team's got much quit in it, being way down like that. They definitely don't have that. But they have an offensive line that did a good job of protecting the quarterback, running for the run, and they liked it so much, now they're going to go for 2.
Red formation from the shotgun, Jim Harbaugh. Throw and a catch and a 2-point conversion. And all of a sudden, Harbaugh ignites his team to a man. The Viking coaches and the players we talked to yesterday all talked about the toughness of Jim Harbaugh, that they knew he was going to battle him right down to the final gun. And he has the Colts back in the game as the NFL on NBC continues. David Palmer gets it out to the 33-yard line, a return of 20 yards.
First thing you see is the offensive lineman by the Colts in a 2-point stance. That usually makes the defense think pass. So they're going to get upfield and maybe put a mindset on those linebackers. And then the block by Crockett, number 32, the fullback, on McDaniel is just an outstanding block. He puts him right on his back. When you're running out of a 2-back offense, every great running back in that I formation has a good blocking fullback. Crockett did a heck of a job on that play.
Marshall Faulk with 2 touchdown runs today for Indianapolis and 85 yards rushing. He's over 1,000 yards for the season. Randall Cunningham throws a strike to Andrew Glover, who takes a big lead whack and then comes down with the ball for a 14-yard gain.
Well, coming off that last possession, just what this offense needs is just a little success. Get a little more confidence back, because the second half has been a bit of a trouble spot for Randall Cunningham in this offense, and you need to get the opportunities early like this and prove that you're still the same offense that they saw in the first half.
Right, and that was a good throw by Cunningham, because that the Colts had pretty good coverage on Glover that time.
Glover and Jake Reed were teammates at Grambling, and when Glover was out of football this summer, Jake Reed said, take a look at my guy. He's a good tight end, and here he is starting for the Vikings as they go to the run to Leroy Hoare, taken down by Morrison, the outside backer, who had the interception early in the game for Indianapolis.
And here's what I mean when I talk about first half, second half, the last couple of weeks. The big number there for me is that one right there. 3 points in the last 2 weeks in the second half. You can't do that against a Colt team like this. They've showed you on the last drive they've got the confidence to move the ball. Denny Green's offense has got to answer that last drive by Jim Harbaugh.
Second down and 4. Let's see where they go to Robert Smith to try to answer, and he does as he breaks it for a first down and a lot more. Robert Smith, airborne for the last 5 yards, gets a 20-yard gain and a big block by wide receiver Chris Carter.
Well, again, when guys make long runs, the wide receiver's got to do a job. But one thing you got to do as a defensive team, you can't let a guy like Robert Smith get outside. Now, that play's kind of designed to go up inside, and he bounces it outside. But with his speed, you've got to have that outside coverage. You've got to have somebody in a forced position, a contained position, to make him stay inside. You can't let him bounce it, because he can bounce it and get outside with the great speed he has.
Smith, growing up in Cleveland, was the high school player of the year before going to National High School Player of the Year before going to Ohio State. Leroy Hoare takes it to the 24-yard line. Dan Footman knocks him down, number 98 for the Colts.
Not real happy right there. He's got the happy feet after that little run as they forced him outside, proving that Leroy Hoare is no Robert Smith trying to get the corner on the outside. I mean, Leroy Hoare, and the defense does a nice job by the Colts here, though, Jim. They string this thing out, and here's support, and here's defensive players being where they're supposed to be, and the feet don't stop.
Yeah, the feet don't stop, but Rico Clark, number 27, he didn't make a real good tackle. He had a shot there to tackle that thing for no gain. He didn't make a good tackle.
Randall Cunningham pump faking to the end zone. There's Jake Reed, and he overshoots him.
And who do they go after right away? Rico Carter.
They went after
Rico Clark.
They went after the rookie Rico Clark. Now the Colts have 2 rookies starting at cornerback this year, and what they tried to do here is put a double move on Clark. Cunningham came back and pumped it once, and Reed made a little stutter step, and then he got right. Watch him make a little stutter step right. See a little stutter step, a little out fake, bam, and he tries to get by Clark. The Clark plays it very well.
Nice job. I mean, you got on the kid about not tackling.
Well,
you don't pay your corners to tackle too much. I mean, but look at him, give him a little props there for doing a good job of covering.
You can tell you never coached or played defense.
Concern the Colts here was how much smaller their corners are than the wide receivers for the Vikings.
Well, so much for the play clock. It ran out on them.
I kind of equate offensive linemen. Randy, like cornerbacks that won't hit anybody. I don't know. Are you in that category?
I used to love seeing cornerbacks out there when you were pulling as an offensive guard, because you knew they didn't like hitting people too bad.
Well, some guys do. There's some tough cornerbacks in this league. They'll come up and strike you.
And they become safeties quickly. Youngster there, Rico Clark. That play against Carter, though, that's one of the better receivers in the league, and he didn't bite on that fake.
Colts starting 2 rookie corners today. Here is Randall Cunningham starting to sprint out. That play is whistled dead.
Early motion.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 64, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Randall McDaniel, who doesn't do things wrong very often. The man you said you're talking about, Jim's going to the Pro Bowl for a 9th straight year. The Vikings lead the league in Randalls. Randall McDaniel and Randall Cunningham and John Randall. They're their Pro Bowlers for this year.
And actually right next to Randall McDaniel, that last play, they had a new center in there. LaShawn Daniels, number 69, was in at center. Remember, Lindsey started the game, but Daniels is in there now.
Throwing to catch. Jake Reed spins inside the 15-yard line. First down, Vikings. 21-yard gain.
Is that Jake Reed's first catch?
Well, they're going after that rookie again, Coach.
That is his first.
Randall Cunningham's found something he thinks he can take advantage of. Rico Clark trying to work on Jake Reed, and that is number one for the big guy.
I'll tell you one thing, though, about these two rookie cornerbacks. So, Randy, the defensive coordinator, Jimmy Johnson, for the Colts said, hey, these guys don't worry about anything. He says they're not scared out there. He says nothing bothers them, and you got to have that kind of a mentality as a cornerback, especially as a rookie cornerback.
I have that short memory because we're going to get burned. Here is a throw and a catch as Chris Carter has his third touchdown catch of the day. 13 yards. And Carter, who complained he was the forgotten man in this offense, all of a sudden is the go-to guy in this must-win day, and he's having his game of the year.
Well, here they picked on the other rookie cornerback, number 34, Monty Montgomery. And when you've got him covering Chris Carter one-on-one, anybody covering Chris Carter one-on-one has got a tough job.
Well, folks, and that's your answer to that drive by Jim Harbaugh and the Colts. Chris Carter, Randall Cunningham, and the Vikings put one back in their face.
The extra point by Eddie Murray is up and good. He's got a fingertip catch. He's got such great hands. And the Vikings will kick off as the NFL on NBC continues. Formerly playing for the Eagles. Randall Cunningham and Chris Carter. Here is Harbaugh dumping the ball towards Dilger. Let's take a look at Carter's big day in the end zone catching balls.
And Chris Carter comes into this game with 86 touchdown passes. There's 87. None of them are going to look easy, folks. There's 88. And now we just saw 89. You saw the stat. 7 throws to him. Remember, we've seen those other 2 passes he didn't catch, and he was overthrown pretty big when he didn't catch the pass. So every realistic ball he's got his hands on, he's caught.
That's right.
He has. On second down and 10, Harbaugh with a 3 wide receiver set. Stands in, lets it fly. Dawkins comes down with the ball. He's short of the first down, but very close to it. Spot will be just inside the 32-yard line where he had to go. That'll bring up third and less than a yard.
Well, it looks like Dawkins got banged up a little bit on that catch. Again, I think the key, as you mentioned, Randy, at the beginning of this half, the key for the Colts, if they want to stay in this game or get back into this game, they've got to protect Jim Harbaugh. I just see the Vikings continuing to put pressure on him with 5- and 6-man rushes.
Well, if they start bringing blitzes, that gets man-on-man blocking on John Randall.
Marshall Falk cutting back to the near side. Harbaugh gives him a block, and Marshall Falk is on the run. Here's a penalty marker in. They might have got his face mask in bringing him down, as he's all the way down to the 45-yard line, a gain of 24 yards on the play, and there'll be more added on.
Robert Griffith got that face mask as he forced him out of bounds. And what do you think, Jim? Just like they drew it up in the playbook for Marshall Falk to run that one?
Oh yeah, just like they, the cutback, and he like Smith and most of these backs that run from the I formation or deep in the secondary, you've got to be a good cutback runner. And Falk did this. He's starting to his left. Look at him right there. That's a heck of a cutback. He just goes laterally to his right. Look at Harbaugh trying to make a block there.
Well, he got a block on Fuller. That's what gave him that final corner. He couldn't have got outside on Fuller, but Harbaugh was there so he could cut inside.
And ruled an inadvertent face mask, so it's a 5-yard penalty down to the 40-yard line.
That's drawn up in a playbook. You wear out a pencil drawing all those lines on a piece of paper.
Harbaugh looking deep, makes a throw and comes in high. Firing at one of his tight ends, number 81, Marcus Pollard. Harbaugh played collegiately at Michigan, was the #1 draft choice of the Chicago Bears. As it's tightening up now, the Redskins leading the Philadelphia Eagles 28-25. The scenario for the Vikings, a win today and they're in the playoffs despite their 5-game losing streak they're trying to break today. They could even lose 6 in a row if the Eagles beat the Redskins. They'll make the playoffs. Throwing a catch. Jim Harbaugh to Marshall Faulk. And he's down to the 37-yard line. Last week, the Colts defense threw a shutout at Dan Marino and the Dolphins, 41-0. As you look at the ticker now. Getting close.
You had to like that tackle there by Corey Fuller, Jim. That was just a great wrap-up on a tough little back to tackle and fall.
Well, Fuller's a tough guy, and I think Dwayne Washington's a pretty tough guy, too. I actually see more tough corners in this league than I see guys that don't like to hit. I know they're paid to cover, but you got to come up and tackle sometimes too.
Crowd noise a problem. Harbaugh fires on the run but comes in low, and then he's hit hard just as he releases the ball. He was looking at Marvin Harrison.
Well, Stalin Collinette came in and gave him a whack, and he's lucky he got down what he did because John Randall was coming after him. 4th down situation here, Jim. You're in your last game of the year.
I think you go for it because you're in a situation here. It's going to be a 50-some-yard field goal for Blanchard, which is a long one for him. You got about 6 yards to go. You're down by 18 points. You better go for it.
With 52 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
No audibilizing here with this crowd noise.
Harbaugh takes a look, gets out of trouble. He's got a man downfield, and the ball is caught inside the 10-yard line down at the 6. Beautiful improvisation by Jim Harbaugh, scrambling, and then he finds Brian Stabline downfield for a 25-yard gain on 4th down.
Any way you look at it, this is Jim Harbaugh. Nobody else makes this play for the Indianapolis Colts. Harbaugh escapes that pass rush. He finds Stabline. To his credit, he finds him, Jim, because he was down there waving for him.
I know. He had 2 guys down there in the area, but like you say, that's just a great play by Harbaugh. I mean, he scrambling around, finding him open, making the play. I mean, he thought about running there for an instant, but he knew he probably couldn't get the 1st down with the run, and he had to get it downfield.
For all the craziness of '97, remember this guy was called Captain Comeback for a reason.
That's right. Took him to within 1 pass of going to the Super Bowl in '95. Marshall Faulk going wide on a 1st down and goal from the 7, and he's taken down by middle linebacker Ed McDaniel.
The Vikings are a very difficult team to run outside on because they're so fast, as McDaniel showed that time with excellent pursuit.
And we'll be back after these messages from your local station. You are watching the NFL on NBC.
I mean, the guys, you need this to be a consistently good football team in the NFL. You need a quarterback back like Harbaugh. A guy can get it done when it counts.
Redskins have just scored, and they now lead the Eagles 35-25. Throw, and the ball is almost kicked. Knocked down. Coming up to make the play was Orlando Thomas, the free safety, number 42.
Orlando Thomas didn't even start in this ball game today. They started Torian Gray, that rookie, at his safety position, but they said he's going to play nickel, and this is a huge play by a veteran. Look at him break on the ball, 42, and come in there because Harbaugh's got an open receiver because Brady isn't sticking with that wide receiver.
Harbaugh grabbed his arm after the play.
I think it's more that little side slap that John Randall put into the top of his arm.
Field goal try by Blanchard is driven up and through. It's now a 36-21 game. Vikings have the ball, and the Colts will kick off.
I believe that if you really go out.
It's a double dose of the Mighty Ducks.
What is that?
The Mighty Ducks, Friday at 8.
We really stink.
D2, The Mighty Ducks, Saturday at 8. Christmas weekend on NBC.
The Vikings ready to get the ball back, holding to a 36-21 lead. In a wide open game, David Palmer and Mo Williams back now for Minnesota. Vikings aware they have to do it themselves, as right now the Philadelphia Eagles are losing to Washington 35-25. There's Jim Harbaugh. Took a shot to the head earlier that knocked him out of the game in the second quarter. Now apparently his left side is bothering him, Randy.
Well, you know, Jim, you made this point a minute ago. The heck with the offense. It's up to the defense now of the Colts to win them this football game.
Yeah, on this drive, they've got to get the ball back. They can't let the Vikings keep the ball.
David Palmer in the open field. There's a blocking foul as Palmer is finally run down at the 35-yard line of the Colts. And it looks like it'll come back. It was a 63-yard return.
It's a little hold against the return team, against the Vikings.
When you talk about things that are frustrating for a coach, one of the things that's extremely frustrating is when you get a good return on a punt or a kickoff.
10-yard penalty, first out.
When you get a good return on a punt or a kickoff and you get a penalty that puts you way back in the hole again.
Well, on that, you see the coverage coming down the field. Little yank there and little pull. There were several little yanks and little pulls when you look at this return in general.
That was Jeff Brady, the middle linebacker. Normally, the starting middle linebacker has been the starter all year until Eddie McDaniel has taken over that spot the last 2 weeks.
Colts looking to get the ball back now, trailing 36-21 early in the fourth quarter. Just a minute gone by in it. Randall Cunningham fires hard, and it's almost picked off. Gunning it in on a tight spiral to Jake Reed, and then the free safety, Jason Belzer, stepped up and almost had it for the Colts.
Well, what you got to do to stop Carter and Reed both is you got to double cover him. You got to put the corners up in their face and back them up with a safety. You see Clark there going to get a hit on him and play the flat zone. And the key guy here is Belzer, number 29. He's in great position in that safety position to come over and knock the ball out of there. Really good play by both the corner and the safety.
But the ball thrown where Belzer could get to it.
Here's Robert Smith running, and not for much, got a couple of yards. Randall Cunningham telling us yesterday that having these two guys in the same lineup, Jake Reed and Chris Carter, is like having great 3-4 hitters in a baseball lineup. They help each other. They're on the double teams.
Yeah, it puts the defensive team in a real dilemma, because who do you take out of the game? I think, number one, you got to say, if we had to take one out of the play, when I say take him out, double cover him, don't let him catch a pass. You start with Carter, but if you do that too often, Reed can hurt you.
Well, the problem with Reed, too, if you take Carter out, you're letting Jake Reed go one-on-one, and he is easily the more physical of the two receivers.
Yes, he is.
Carter with 3 touchdown catches today, and now Jake Reed comes back at the ball. And Cunningham comes in high as he's hit hard just as he releases the ball.
A little bit there of what the Vikings saw last week out of the Detroit defense, and that is some blitz and some aggressive attacking out of the defense.
All right, when you bring, you know, if you're going to release so many receivers in the route and they blitz more than guys you've got to protect, somebody's going to come free, and the quarterback's just got to get rid of the ball.
Colts about to get the ball back. Mitch Berger hits the punt downfield for the Vikings. Nate Jacquet, he gets popped hard at the 43-yard line as the Vikings continue to lead by 15.
With Plymouth, this is what you pay for, and this is what you get. For instance, Plymouth Voyager, you get a winner of a Consumer's Digest Best Buy Award for 2 years in a row. And this is what you pay, just $17,245. And that makes Voyager the lowest priced minivan. One more time, this is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Get up to $1,000 cash back on select Plymouth minivans. See your Plymouth dealer today. Still shaving with blades?
We know how you feel about that. The Norelco Reflex Action Razor. Anything closer could be too close for comfort.
He doesn't really talk about his hair, but I know he thinks about it. That's why he uses Pantene Pro V. The Pro Vitamin formula penetrates, improving hair, keeping it looking really healthy, shiny, strong. Pantene Pro V, for hair so healthy it shines.
And so, the
prince entered the sleeping castle, breaking the spell as Hansel and Gretel came upon the evil witch's cottage.
And Tinkerbell helped rescue the lost boys from the pirates, and they all...
Now you can buy children a lot of happy endings, because every time you use Visa, we'll contribute to Reading is Fundamental, dedicated to helping children learn to read. So please use your Visa card, because every child deserves a good beginning.
Jack climbed down the beanstalk, narrowly
Visa,
escaping...
it's everywhere you want to be.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. By Plymouth, more fun, more car. That's Plymouth. And by Pert Plus, the shampoo that conditions, too, for simply great hair. Simply.
We're back, and so is John Randall. Johnny, his teammates call him.
Mr. Randall, offensive tackles call him.
One speed, full throttle. He has 1 sack today, 14.5 for the season. Harbaugh, play fakes on first down, throws downfield, and Dawkins makes a tremendous catch. Going way up, extending and coming down with a 15-yard gain.
Well, Jim, exactly what you talked about. The defense forces a 3 and out. They get the ball back on the 43-yard line. And what are you looking at if you're Minnesota? You're looking at an offense that believes in Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh knows he can do it.
Right, and key there was the defense. First of all was the penalty on the kickoff return by the Vikings that hurt him. Then the defense steps up and stops him, and now the offense has good field position.
Here's a blitz. Harbaugh gets it away, and Dawkins had a hand on it, and then almost a Viking almost had it.
Dwayne Washington, Dawkins deflected that right into Dwayne Washington's lap. And he can't believe he didn't catch that thing. Watch Dawkins get the hand on it, then watch the deflection. Oops. You do tip drills a lot, Jim, but you can't prepare for that.
You can't prepare for that, and now the Colts have another chance. Good luck for the Colts, bad luck for the Vikings.
And you have to admire the Colts in their fight. They keep battling back. And what's been a long season. With a run, and there's not much going on for Zach Crockett as he's thrown back. When the Colts were 0-10 to start the year, they were telling people we're not as bad as they seem. And then they were saying yesterday when they beat 3 good teams in the previous 5 weeks leading up to this game, they had to tell people maybe we're not as good as we seem.
That's right. And
somewhere in between.
You know, in case you were wondering there, Lindy and Fonnie talking to that walkie-talkie, he calls the plays. So the reason he's talking to that walkie-talkie is he's giving the plays to Jim Harbaugh.
That's the coach-to-quarterback transmission system that's in effect in the NFL. He's calling the plays to the...
Yeah, he's not in charge of security.
No.
He's got a playbook as thick as a phone book. Harbaugh's hit from behind.
Guess who?
Johnny Randall. Second sack of the day.
Well, Randall got free there, but there was pretty good coverage back there because Harbaugh was standing back there and really had nowhere to throw the football. Now, Randall just goes through 2 guys, maybe 3 guys there they got blocking him that time. Harbaugh didn't see him coming, and that's the advantage of coming in from that blind side.
You see, Meadows hands him off to Waddell. Waddell hands him off to Harbaugh. I mean, that's just...
Harbaugh didn't want him.
He didn't want any part of that big guy.
Johnny Randall, the guy says, I love the game so much, I want to make every play my play. David Palmer moves up. There catches the ball at the 15-yard line. And the Vikings will have it as the NFL on NBC continues.
Hey, guys. Need a smile? Call Domino's.
Yes.
A Domino's pizza does the trick. Thin crust, hand-tossed, or deep dish. Made with all your favorite toppings. But we deliver more than great pizza. At Domino's, we're delivering 1 million smiles a day.
That's weird.
What's weird?
Take a look.
We're getting money back.
I said it was weird.
How much?
$23.
Definitely cause for celebration.
With CD-ROM Intel Pentium processor with MMX technology and excellent sound.
Wait a second.
The new compact Presario notebook is the perfect computer for that multimedia application called life.
Want to toast some marshmallows?
The Presario Notebook from Compact.
With Plymouth, this is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Take, for example, Plymouth Neon. You get all this. And now these special savings. Get $1,500 cash back or 1.9% APR, so you can save over $2,700 in finance charges. One more time. This is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Plymouth Neon, only at your local Plymouth dealer.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza, delivering 1 million smiles a day. Call for pizza now and share a smile during the game.
They're having a good time in the Metrodome, where the Vikings are in the lead over the Colts 36-21. The Vikings now 11 minutes away from moving on to the NFL's second season. A win today sends them to the playoffs. After starting the year 8-2, they went into a sinking spell, a major spin down as they went down in 5 straight games. Now today they have the lead and have the ball as Robert Smith, who's played so well, runs it for a few yards out to the 17-yard line.
Now remember, last time they had the ball, 3 and out, and then he gave the ball back to the Colts.
They did.
You've got to eat time up in this situation. If you're worried about winning this football game, you need first downs. Don't worry about points. Worry about first downs right now.
And this is where it's important to be able to run the ball effectively, Randy. You know, as an offensive lineman, you get a lead, fourth quarter, you got to run the football.
Robert Smith's been doing that well. 12 carries for 129 yards, including the 76-yard run from scrimmage. Pick, Colts have it. All of a sudden, Jason Belzer heads for the end zone, and does he go in? But no, he's out at the 4-yard line. But friends, this isn't over yet.
One play can turn a ball game around so quickly in the NFL, and you can't ever relax. You can't ever think you got things under control, because just like now, you're ahead by 15 points, and all of a sudden, big interception, good field position for the Colts, and now they're ready to score a touchdown.
And all set up by Jake Reed, just putting like the one hand up there almost to knock it down, but that, all he does is knock it up into the air and enable Jason Belzer to make that return. Watch the end when Jake Reed gets to it, right there. I mean, all that does is knock it straight up in the air for Belzer.
Well, both Lindy and Fonte and Jimmy Johnson, the defensive coordinator, told us that they thought that Jason Belzer was having an excellent year this year with not a lot of recognition.
Yeah, when he catches it, he's not done. He ran it back 32 yards inside the 5. First and goal. Up the middle they go to Marshall Faulk, who's been in the end zone twice today. That time he's taken down at about the 2-yard line. Still a lot of time left. 10 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the game.
Well, there is a lot of time on both sides of the ball, Don. You can't relax right now. If you're in Minnesota, you don't need to panic, but you best get a little sense of urgency about your actions right here. Not be lackadaisical. I mean, this is where veteran leadership for Denny Green has got to step up and make the difference.
We'll see what they do. There's a lot of veterans in there and a lot of rookies on that Viking defense. Marshall Faulk with a hard angle charge into the right side of the Viking defense, and a backup linebacker, Ron George, stops him short of the goal line.
Ron George, a linebacker who played for Denny Green when Denny was at Stanford. Been released by the Falcons. Denny gave him a shot, and right here, he in the middle of that defense do a good job of keeping Faulk out of there.
I tell you what, Randy and Don, I'm really impressed with the way that Marshall Faulk has really hit it up there on those last 2 plays.
I mean, he's running. That's low running. He's about 18 inches off the ground when he gets there and tackles.
He's not a big guy, and he is smacking it up in there.
Now Jim Harbaugh, not wanting to squander a very strong scoring opportunity, calls for a timeout with 9:01 to play in the game.
They give us heroes, they give us hope, they let us laugh and cry and fall in love. Movies touch us as few things can. Any technology that heightens the experience of watching movies at home makes life even more enjoyable.
DVD video from Philips Magnavox. Technology for the heart, the spirit, and the imagination.
With Plymouth, this is what you pay for, and this is what you get. For instance, Plymouth Voyager. You get standard air conditioning, car-like handling, easy out-roller seats, and more. And this is what you pay at $17,245. It's the lowest price minivan. One more time. This is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Get up to $1,000 cash back on select Plymouth minivans. See your Plymouth dealer today.
And overeating.
Take these back.
They're...
Over hard. Try again.
I think I liked you better smoking. He's quitting cold turkey.
Hey, I'm quitting myself. Can I suggest?
Nicoderm CQ. Does that help?
If it didn't, you'd be wearing these eggs.
With a 24-hour stream of medicine, Nicoderm CQ calms even nasty cravings. It's the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
You know what? I like you better not smoking.
Christmas Day, a very special present from the NBA on NBC. The top 4 teams from last season's playoffs at the Hardwood. First, Charles Barkley and the Rockets face Stockton, Malone, and the Jazz. Then, Michael Jordan and the world champion Bulls host Pat Riley's Heat. A Christmas Day doubleheader at 2:30 Eastern on NBC.
Yeah, it's a cliche. Every little bit helps. Every little inch helps. That ball just moved about 3 inches. But that makes a difference for Marshall Falk. That's who you credit, that shoe.
3rd and goal from the 1-yard line for the Colts. Over the top. No, he can't even get up. Vikings stuffed Marshall Falk, and 4th down comes up. Wayne Clemens, number 92.
See, this is a heck of a play by the Vikings, because what this does, because they throw him for a loss, now they've got, instead of 4th and inches or 4th and a foot, they got 4th and 2 yards to go. So what do? You kick a field goal, you got to throw it. It'd be tough to run it in from here.
Well, Clemens just comes out, and he just flat stones Marcus Pollard, the tight end. He comes right through that shoulder.
I like that down the line option they ran in the first half, where they pitched to Falk.
Well, they took their goal line offensive people out of the game, the Colts did, and they're coming with their normal people. So,
got a timeout by the Colts. Harbaugh wants to go over there, Jim, and figure this whole thing out. You know, you follow this year from up here, but, you know, has it really changed that much? You get 4th and short, let's say 2 or 3 like this. This is a passing down.
Oh, this is definitely a passing down. You can't assume that you can run it in for 2 yards. So this is definitely a passing down, and you don't try to fool anybody.
Fred?
You get your passing people in there, your 3rd down people, and you throw the football. No play action pass. You're not going to fool anybody here.
Just spread the formation.
Spread the formation with what you feel like you can do best, throwing the football. And you throw it.
Is this a situation where you get a chance to run one of your normal 2-point conversion plays? Would you run that type of play here? In this situation, something you've already practiced in this situation?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be one of the 2-point conversion plays. Now, the only thing you could do here if you got some guts is you could line up in the shotgun and run a draw or some kind of a trap. But it's going to take some guts because, you know, it may work, it may not. Your best chances are to throw the football.
Well, they're not in that passing formation we talked about. Now they are.
Fourth down. Harbaugh takes a look, makes the throw. It is a touchdown for Indianapolis. Gunning it into Marvin Harrison as he really threw into traffic.
Harbaugh got flattered, Don, by John Randall. He just got that off, and he's hurt. He came right down on that left shoulder. Randall just slammed into the turf.
Remember earlier in the half here that he grabbed his arm one time when Randall grabbed him by the arm. The same arm right there, yeah.
But a wonderful job of, if it don't fit, force it. And he fit that thing right into that defense, barely over the line for that touchdown.
Blanchard booms through the extra point. And the Colts again inch closer, down 36-27 with a lot of time left, 8:25 to play. But will their quarterback be ready to come back in when they get the ball back?
I would bet that Harbaugh's back in there. Now, he's hurting right now, but I know what kind of a competitor is. The guy that puts a shot on him is John Randall. He comes inside the tackle, beats the guard, or came inside the tight end and beat Meadows right there and got the hit. Now he was coming hard there. Look at him right there.
Well, he actually, I think, pretty much clean beats Adam Meadows coming around the outside of him. You know, when Dilger had to go outside, that meant he couldn't help.
Right. I think
Meadows was counting on that help. Watch Meadows, 73, steps down, no help. Now it's just the express lane to the quarterback, and I agree. I mean, if there's a way in the world Jim Harbaugh can come back on this football field, his team needs him in here right now, because it's quite obvious the difference in the game so far has been the time that he has not been on the football field. And anybody that would question this guy's toughness, I think needs their head examined.
Yeah,
for
no way.
sure.
This guy is as tough a competitor as there is in the league. People don't appreciate the hits that quarterbacks take, the hits that he's taken, and he is hurting. I mean, you can see he is hurting right there.
And just to make things a little more interesting, Don, for the Minnesota Vikings, Washington's now final.
Oh, so
35-32 over Philly. So you want a little tension and a little build-up for this one.
means the Vikings have to win to go to the playoffs. Here's David Palmer. And he is to the 23-yard line. Now we're going to go to Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
All right, Don, we have some NBA news, and it is bad news for Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. Ewing hurt his wrist in last night's loss in Milwaukee. He underwent surgery today here in New York. That wrist has torn ligaments. The New York Knicks are saying he is out for the rest of this season. The 35-year-old Ewing apparently done for the year. Let's go back to Don Criqui.
Thank you, Greg. You talk about a tough guy that we're looking at here, Jim Harbaugh. Patrick Ewing is another one. He is the New York Knicks. Plays every game like it's his last. Robert Smith runs it straight ahead. As Randy, you were mentioning Washington. There's the, we're told, has beaten. Oh, they're still in it. Still in the fourth quarter. Kansas City, a home team in the AFC throughout the playoffs. Steelers rested a lot of guys today. Went to Tennessee, and the Oilers finish 8-8. Now it definitely is a final. Washington has defeated Philadelphia. You were prescient, Randy Cross.
No, I was about to kill somebody that handed me a card.
Robert Smith straight ahead on second down and 4. He's ahead for a first down.
Well, the Colts got to get the ball back like we've been talking here the last few drives. But again, in this kind of a situation, it's vital that as an offensive football team, you can run the ball. Because if you can run the ball and continue to make first downs, you run time off the clock, the Colts offense is on the sideline.
Absolutely, Jim. With that offensive line of the Vikings, they've got speed and strength on the left side and pure just girth and smash on the right.
That right,
you've got the combination. You got to use it.
Yeah.
Let's see how they use it on first down and 10, holding to an 8-point lead. They use it to Robert Smith, taking it straight ahead. The Vikings could have gotten in with a 6th straight loss today had the Washington Redskins been beaten by the Eagles, but that did not happen. The Redskins were a winner today, so the Vikings have to win, and there's a great second game coming up. The Lions and the Jets, both teams looking to win and go to the playoffs. Randall Cunningham swings the ball out to Charles Evans, one of his fullbacks. Short gain on the play. It brings up third down and about 7.
Boy, another good play by Steve Morrison that picked off a Cunningham pass earlier today. That is another good example of good open field tackling by the Colt linebacker.
Yeah, because I thought there, oh yeah, look at Jim Harbaugh's walking off the field. Well, that injury must be pretty serious if he's doing that, because you know that player there would like to be in the ball game and finish it up and try to win this thing.
So Jay Lewinberg encouraging Kelly Holcomb right there, warming up.
Kelly has been shell-shocked after what happened to him when he had to come in at the last moment. Here is a hard-thrown ball at Jake Reed as Randall Cunningham really came with his fastball on that one. Carlton Gray had his hands on the ball. It's incomplete, and the Vikings leading by 8 in a game they have to win. Now will punt the ball back to Indianapolis.
Well, this was a nice play by Carlton Gray on a big play, because now the Colts get the ball back. And, you know, they made a first down run on the ball twice with Robert Smith. And, again, I emphasize again, you got to be able to run the football in times like this. This is what wins you football games offensively.
Mitch Berger hits a good one downfield that Jaquette comes up on. He's going to run it back. In his wisdom, he fields the ball and does get ahead for about 4 yards. So the Colts have it. They're down by 8.
With Plymouth, this is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Take, for example, Plymouth Neon. You get all this. And now these special savings. Get $1,500 cash back or 1.9% APR, so you can save over $2,700 in finance charges. One more time. This is what you pay for, and this is what you get. Plymouth Neon, only at your local Plymouth dealer.
Jennifer Azzi spends 40 minutes destroying her hair and 90 seconds bringing it back with the shampoo that conditions too, Pert Plus. Because Jennifer wants great hair with plenty of time for other things. Don't you? Pert Plus. Simply great hair, simply.
Buying tires is a whole lot easier at a place with a good selection. Well, Sears has Michelins for whatever you drive. And right now, they're all on sale. Save on every Michelin in every size. So get in, get tires, and...
Jim, you led to the Saints to their first playoff ever. How does this NFC picture look to you?
Well, it looks pretty tight here for the last spot. You know, if Minnesota wins this game, Detroit has to win to be in the playoffs today.
Detroit against the Jets in the second game of this NBC doubleheader. Holcomb, this guy just cannot play at this point. Fumbles again. He's inexperienced, but somehow you've got to get the snap from center. He's missed 2 of them and turned it over.
Lindy Infanti's offense has done everything with Jim Harbaugh positive, and so far it's been all negative for the young quarterback Kelly Holcomb and the Colts when he's in the football game. Interceptions, bad snaps on a shotgun snap early when the quarterback's not looking, and the simplest of plays, the quarterback-center exchange.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Randy and Don, what this means. It's very important that you have a backup quarterback that can come in and win a football game or keep you in a football game.
Yeah.
Cunningham's a good example of that as compared to a guy like Kelly Holcomb with no experience whatsoever.
Your friend Marty Schottenheimer's got a great situation with Kansas City with Gannon backing up Elvis Gerbach.
Yeah, he went with Gerbach today and played pretty well in the last report. Robert Smith runs the ball as the Vikings will now to try to run clock with 5:08 to play in. Clock running here in the fourth quarter, and the Vikings holding to a 36-28 lead.
The problem with the backup quarterback with the salary cap is a lot of times with a lot of teams you don't have the money to pay a backup quarterback enough money to get a quality guy right there. You have to go with the rookie or a young guy and just pray over there on the sideline and during the course of the season that you're not going to get your starter hurt.
Lewinberg the center and Holcomb the quarterback.
They're talking about the exchange and how exactly Holcomb got that ball up into his hand. He's claiming it was crooked.
Pretty straight when he handed it to Harbaugh. Here is Robert Smith running, and he gets down inside the 10-yard line and down to the 6.
Well, that was a bad exchange of a quarterback and a center snap, but there's nothing wrong with this exchange between Randall Cunningham and Robert Smith. Getting a great block out there by Stussy, by his receiver Jake Reed, by his tight end Glover. I mean, this is putting a finishing touch on something when it needs to be finished.
A 13-yard gain by Robert Smith, who's now up to 157 yards rushing today. The Vikings' all-time single-season rushing leader. And this is his 6th 100-yard-plus rushing game of the season. That's a Viking record also. Previous one held by Chuck Foreman. Previous rushing record held by Terry Allen.
You know, there's been some criticism of Lindy Infante and his coaching staff for the season that they've had. And if the Vikings go on to win this game, you know, you can't blame the coach. You can't blame Lindy Infante. I mean, they're in the ball game. Harbaugh's bringing them back. If Harbaugh plays this whole ball game, I guarantee you it's close. I mean, real close, and the Colts are right in it. Now they lose Harbaugh, and the Vikings are probably going to lose. That's not Lindy's fault. That's not his coaching staff's fault.
But as you mentioned, the Vikings looking to nail the lid on now with 3:06 to play. Randall Cunningham sprints out. He is swept under. Ellis Johnson came through unblocked. Defensive tackle from Florida.
I think Ellis Johnson knows audibles and knows this offense. Watch the big guy, number 62, right there. He comes leaping through there, and it's a foot race to the corner. Randall's got the edge, got the speed, and he's also got Ellis Johnson all over his purple-shirted body.
Ellis Johnson was their #1 draft pick a couple years ago. I was coaching with the Saints when he came out, and he was very, very high on our list. He was a guy that we had like in our final group of 3 or 4 guys that we were thinking about picking on the first round. We went ahead and picked Mark Fields, a linebacker from Washington State. But this guy here is a really good young football player.
See the final seconds ticking out. The Kansas City Chiefs going to 13-3. What a year they've had, despite losing their starting quarterback. Getting him back today. And the Giants, what a year by Jim Fossil, their first-year head coach. You had him voted, Jim, as your NBC Coach of the Year.
Right. I really feel like he's, there's been a lot of great coaching jobs in the league this year. Fossil, Parcells, I could go on. Marty Schottenheimer, I think, has done a great job. Again, Shanahan, who really doesn't get a lot of credit out there because they think he's got a lot of talent, but he always does a good job coaching. But I really think that Fossil, he brought that team from last in the NFC East Division to a championship this year with a good record.
Let's not forget Mariucci either. Randall Cunningham takes it straight ahead. Looks like a called play. Goes right behind his center. And he's taken down at about the 7-yard line. So the field goal unit comes out.
You talk about coaches of the years too, guys. I think one guy that really deserves a lot of credit for turning a pathetic situation very, very positive in a couple of years is Tony Dungy in Tampa Bay.
Oh, man, fantastic.
I mean, as bad as that organization was, as bad as the mentality on that football team was, he has quietly, in his own style, turned that around. And a lot of what he does as a coach, he got here at Minnesota as a defensive coordinator.
Anybody knows Tony Dungy, it's hard not to root for him.
Right. Oh, no, I could have very easily have put him right in that category with those guys I mentioned. He just slipped my mind. I think Tony's done an outstanding job. Excellent football coach, has got a great future ahead of him.
Finally got his chance, and he really made good on it as a head coach in the NFL. As the regular season wraps up, the postseason kicks off on SuperBowl.com as NBC teams up with the NFL and IBM to produce the game's official website. Get a sneak peek at our plans for San Diego, as well as a complete playoff analysis. Plus, try our game arcade and win a trip for 2 in the IBM Drive to the Super Bowl sweepstakes. It's all on the internet at SuperBowl.com. Who's going to be there?
I'm pulling for the 49ers. I've got a little
vested interest in that, don't you?
My son's the defensive backfield coach for the 49ers, and I'm pulling for him all the way. I got to admit it.
As far as we're concerned, that defensive backfield's carried that club.
Well,
they played very well.
They've carried it. I'll tell you, he's got some good athletes back there to coach. Merton Hanks, Rod Woodson, Tim McDonald, Marquez Pope.
And that first playoff game for them is going to be critical in a couple of weeks. And you look at this Central Division, I don't know if anybody really wants to play many of these teams in the playoff because of their explosive potential. But could there be a tougher team than Detroit for anybody to play?
I talked to my son Jim a couple weeks ago, and he says, hey, the team that our defensive staff does not want to play in that first round is Detroit because of that offense. I think it's ranked #1 in the NFL.
I don't think I want to be playing the Packers either.
Well, they don't think they'll.
Good.
Yeah, they don't think they'll play them, and they know they won't play them in the first game.
You worry more about people that are coming to your place.
Yeah.
When they're going to their place, you're their problem.
Another coach who is so underrated, he is absolutely excels at his profession, as the guy will be at work in the second game. We know Parcells is one of the best, but so is the guy across the field from him, Bobby Ross. He is a tremendous football coach. Has been at every level.
But that next football game, we've seen Smith run well. We've seen Marshall Falk run well. Bobby Ross's guy, Mr. Sanders, needs 131 to get 2,000, and I am going to watch that.
Kelly Holcomb trying to get his team downfield. Brings it in with one hand. And all that running with the one-handed catch results in no gain as we're down to the 2-minute warning. The NFL.
Well, all of these things are important here, Don and Randy, but to me, the most important stat isn't on that screen. It's Jim Harbaugh being hurt. Out of game. Right there it is on the screen. Right there. I was looking at those other numbers, but Jim Harbaugh out of the game has been the difference. Because when he hasn't been in there, when he's been in there, that Colt offense has been very productive, and when he hasn't, they've just struggled. Turnovers, fumbles, snaps, the whole thing.
And that guy right there has managed to make a difference, which a lot of defensive players on occasion can make a difference. John Randall's found a way to do it basically for 4 quarters. Remember the sacks. He's the one that hit Harbaugh that last time to get him out of the game.
Yeah, he's like Ernie Banks, the Cubs Hall of Famer. He'd like to play 2, you think, John Randall. 4 quarters isn't enough for him.
Well, in a case of Randall, you know, is the case most of the time in important games, and this is certainly an important game for the Vikings, having to win to get in the playoffs. Guys like him step up. The leaders of the football team, the quality players and people step up.
He did that with 2 sacks and almost a third. Ball is picked off. Robert Griffith of the Vikings makes the intercept. So Kelly Holcomb continues to really struggle against a fierce pass rush of the Vikings.
Not that it's ever a plus and he ever gives you let up. But I tell you, whoever watches this matchup between the rookie Adam Meadows and John Randall is going to know there's no day off, there's no quit, and there's no playoff in John Randall. He does not take a down off.
Never has. Never has. In practice, he does it. They say he's one of the hardest workers on their football team every day in practice. Never takes a play off. That's what makes him a great player. You know, if you can say one good thing that might come out of this for a guy like Meadows, hopefully he will learn from this. He started every game at left tackle this year for the Colts. Hopefully he'll be a much better football player next year.
But Jim, left tackle is like at cornerback.
No,
He's got to have that attitude that I can't be beaten, and if I am, I forget about it pretty fast.
And to think he was never drafted. An undrafted free agent out of Texas A&I, heading to his 5th straight Pro Bowl. John Randall, who took over the NFL sack lead today with 2, gets him up to 15.5 sacks for the season.
And Randall Cunningham got enough out of this offense today.
Yes,
Last
he did.
week, this offense didn't do much in the second half, but he did a good job in the first half. And when they really, really had to, when you needed to step up, that offense stepped up in the second half.
Yeah, and he got it to the right guys. He got it to Carter, who started off the game with their first touchdown with a magnificent catch in the end zone. Smith made some big plays. And Cunningham did come through. I think he played a very good football game today.
After this game, most of you will be going to the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, where the Lions and the Jets are playing for a playoff spot. Each has one on the line. The Jets in the AFC and the Lions in the NFC. As John Randall has been a force today, and he's helped propel the Minnesota Vikings onto the NFL playoffs.
Well, let me tell you how it is in the NFL for a head coach, John. Dennis Green now is breathing a sigh of relief down there that his team is going to make the playoffs. But he's going into the playoffs 0-4 in the playoffs, so he's thinking, hey, I got to win one now.
Well, he's heard the bad things all week long about, hey, you're not going to make it. Now this week he wins, he can enjoy it for about 20 minutes. Now they're going to be saying, yeah, well, you never won one.
I know, that's exactly how it's going to happen, and he knows it.
Once again, the final score, the Vikings 39, the Colts